They're described by the United Nations as one of the world's most persecuted and least privileged people. Officially stateless, segregated and horrifically oppressed, the plight of Myanmar's Rohingyas, from an outsider's perspective, can be a devastating shock. Over 800,000 Rohingyas live in Myanmar, also known as Burma, but the military-backed government refuses to recognise them as native to the country, arguing that they're from Bangladesh and therefore are treated as less than human. Rohingyas were stripped of their citizenship, were forced into labour, have limited land ownership, and they're not allowed to have more than 2 children. Saeed Kassim was tortured as a teenager by the Burmese military in the early 90s because he wanted to set up a school in his village in Rakhine State.
In the morning, about 9 o'clock, the military coming and arrested me. They took me Longshong, situated military camp. They really tortured me, placed by iron rod on my leg and beaten me. The military, after taking to me there, they didn't give me any food, any drink. Really, they tortured me for 6 days. Like, I thought at that time I don't want to be alive anymore.
Saeed later fled Burma to Malaysia in 1992, but left again in 2010 after further persecution, and wanting to secure his family's future, he travelled on a tiny boat from Indonesia and was rescued by Australian authorities in the Indian Ocean. Saeed spent over a year in Sydney's Villawood Detention Centre, but now lives in the city's western suburbs. But his story is just one of thousands. Tension in Myanmar's Rakhine State, where most of the country's Rohingyas live, accumulated into a series of riots in 2012 between Buddhists and Rohingyas, which have killed hundreds of Muslims and displaced over 100,000 others. Most of the displaced Rohingyas now live in camps across the region, where conditions have been described as dire by the United Nations.
The predicament of the Rohingyas amounts to an humanitarian crisis, and advocacy groups say that few will be offered the chance to resettle in Malaysia. So many are determined to come to Australia as soon as possible, as the country doesn't persecute on ethnic or religious grounds.
Saeed says many Rohingyas have already died after their boats sank.
People from Burma also still from Burma going out by the boat. Also, I heard in 2-3 months a lot of people died.
With multiple governments refusing to help and the president of Burma, Thein Sein, openly calling for their entire deportation, it's feared that the Rohingyas will be eventually wiped out. Daniel Pizarro, Press TV, Sydney.